What's up, squad? This is Brandon from the Bantu Sun. Thank you so much for joining me today. So it's another day in the new Trump order as President Donald Trump seeks to assert his ideology on the world. And to me, things are changing rapidly. And that's two things, right? Two things is one, things are changing. And then the second thing, things are changing. So in the former, I'm saying things are changing as in the actuality. Hammering the tariffs, 25%, one out of every $4, 25% tariffs, basically price hikes to the biggest trading partners. We're talking about, what's that? We're going back to NAFTA. We're talking about 40 years 40 years of economic trade integration, 4 decades, excuse me, 4 decades, 40 years of North American trade integration. Um, he's just such a American president to me. And when I say that, I mean like 19th century, late 19th century American president. This guy's about acquiring land, full ownerships, putting up tariffs, even going back, I would say pre 20th century president. So this guy is all about establishing tariff barriers, protecting domestic industries, acquiring real estate, like taking land, whether that's Greenland, Canada, or Panama, etc. And so a lot of people, this is jarring, but this was Americans' foreign policy was before World War II. You could, yeah, before World War One, I give you before World War One, but definitely before World War Two. And after World War Two, America came out the isolationist bubble. America opened its doors to the world and became the world's customer. And America say, look, we're going to use our great economies of scale, our large market and consumership, and we're going to, because what happened was, what World War Two was the bubbling up of these smaller countries' aspiration to grow. And at that time, it was two ways to grow: nation state or the empire, right? And what the empire problem was, what Britain found out is after a while, uh, everybody wanted their nation state, right? The Indians wanted to rule India, the Nigerians wanted to rule Nigerians, etc. But on the other hand, the nation state is extremely limited, right? It's always remember the great stories of Hitler making imaginary battle plans, they say, with divisions that didn't exist. They just simply exhausted themselves. America has made itself into a nation state of an empire, more or less. And it has done that because, unlike acquiring nations to incorporate like an old empire would, right? Britain would go to India and they would acquire India and say, now you guys are all British. But it's a big issue here. They're Indian and they know they're Indian. Or they'll go to other countries in the world, like go to Nigeria and say, okay, you guys are part of Britain. But they're like, we're Nigerians. We have a distinct Nigerian culture. What America did was say, okay, this is our nation state. And they fed the empire from immigrants that came through the American door or Ellis Island, however you want to say it. But basically, they went through a cleansing process where they're not what they were, but now they're American. So it was an empire due to its diversity, but it was a nation state because everybody had to go through the American door. They had to buy into the American way of life. They had to feed the American machine, right? Because the Native Americans here wasn't strong enough or populous enough to necessarily need to be acquired that way. They were drowned out by the surges of immigration. And not only was that, but America's so rich, the population was like quadrupling like every 5,200 years. Like, so the people that came here, they were having multitudes of generations. One of the fun facts I always tell people is you got to remember of the African slaves that were brought to the Americas, only 5% only 5% went to the United States. 95% of African slaves went to the Caribbean and Brazil. Only 5% came to the United States. So that means when you see America with 40 million African children of African Americans, 40 million of us, right? That 40 million is the result a proliferation within the United States. That means the African population boomed under slavery and within the United States. And this shows you, like, even the enslaved population boomed within the United States. Imagine what the other populations did. And that's what happened. This is why the United States was able to grow so rapidly. It fought a civil war, but it was relatively continuous in this aspect. Even if they lost a civil war, it was just going to be in America North and in America South, really. Both rooted in these strong British principles, one based on industry and one based on agriculture and slavery. Nevertheless, Donald Trump is really harping back into that. And what I find interesting, what I like about it, is things I like and things I don't like. What I like about it is blocking and tackling. Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, and it was really smart. Like I'm not a Marco Rubio fan, you know. I just didn't. But for the purpose he's being used, he's great. Marco Rubio is a Cuban descendant of Cuban immigrants to America. I believe, yeah, Marco Rubio is Cuban immigrants. Sometimes I conflate him and Ted Cruz, so apologies. But Marco Rubio out of Florida, he's bilingual. You send him out there. First foreign trip he takes, block and tackle. First foreign trip he takes, send him to Panama where he speaks the language. Immediately starts off because that's what you got to do with these guys, to say, look, we're firm, but we're like you, you know? And the first thing they do is send them to Panama. I just think that's a brilliant trip. They didn't send them to Afghanistan, over to China, or some far off place, no Middle East spot. They sent them to their backyard. And it speaks to Trump's focus on the United States. And then he comes up with these ideas, which shows you he really just tried to hit Canada and Mexico in the pocketbooks. He says slow down the drug trade or whatever. Like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, drugs have been around forever. Like, I don't know what Mexico and Canada are supposed to do. I don't think they just let people go. I think he really just wanted to hit them with 25% tariffs, and I think he wanted to onshore some business. And we'll see if the American public appreciate the price hikes they're gonna get in the short term. Cause yeah. But like I said, I just don't see his follow-up. I don't see another Trump person out there. Every Trump person I ever saw mimics Trump. But usually the people that really like Trump, they're too far outside of success within the mainstream to be either relevant or have the backing. Don't forget, Donald Trump is a billionaire. He was able to accomplish this thing because he has a strong network and he's in the loop. It's not that many people with the resources to pull off what he's pulling off. And the competition is so fierce. So we'll see what he's going to get done. But between that, and like you see, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is on his way to America because he's smart. He's not going to risk it. He's like, look, Donald Trump in here making waves. He's not even sending nobody out to the Middle East. He really is giving them like, hey, you guys sort this stuff out. We got stuff to do over here. Vibes. So Benjamin Netanyahu is like, it's okay. I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you. We're going to make this work. And that's what great geopolitics does. So when I say things are changing, that's the former. The latter of things are changing is it creates an opportunity for nations out there that can solve problems, and cultures and demographics and groups out there that can solve problems. Because this Donald Trump is obviously a person that has no problem taking a sledgehammer to the conventional truths or the standard way of doing things. And I think if you're a country out there, you can make. I look at Guatemala, for instance. Guatemala has been low key, unlike Mexico, which has been protested things. Guatemala's like, send us the immigrants. Let's make something work. So I think it's opportunities for certain countries out there that may be being maligned or ignored because of this, that, or the third. But he's really allowing, because he's taking a sledgehammer. If you could come in and solve one of these foreign policy issues, which he don't deem important, I think he wants, like I said, Egypt. Oh, Ethiopia has the dam. They taking the water. He said he just bombed the dam. This dude is not a guy that's about to think thoroughly about international foreign policy. You know what I'm saying? He's point A to point B type of personality. So if you could come in there with a great idea, he can shake things up. Conversely, you see a situation where M23 is now saying they're going to go all the way to Kinshasa. They're in North Kivu, talking about going down to South Kivu. Possibly Burundi said they do that. It's a party now. We gotta start a war because it's too close to us. And M23 talking about going all the way to Kinshasa, which isn't unprecedented for Tutsis to go to Kinshasa. And you could ask President Kagame of Rwanda about that one. So, would Donald Trump even care? Did Donald Trump even care what a M23 is or what a Kivu is? He's like, look, is trade going? Cool, whatever. Long as the problem solved, keep it moving. So it's really interesting the dynamics and changing shifts of the world. So I really want to dive into a lot of things. And it's just so many things in geopolitics right now because the world's opening up because so many of the standard norms are being thrown out the window. Donald Trump's having great conversations with countries like Venezuela. They just had an agreement where they're taking some of these people, and they just got some hostages, I think, from Venezuela. So he's really challenging the status quo. Like the 25% tax, like that's extreme. Like I didn't think this dude was gonna come in and within a week or two of some office, basically ostracized. Because I tell you what is going to be the long term effects is this really opens the door to China in the Western Hemisphere. Because China can come back. They say, yeah, Trump, go ahead, you can bully us now. But when they come back with that 1 billion people, and they tell Canada and Mexico, like, do you really want to be associated with a system like that, with on a whim? Like, at least with China, you're like, yo, you got stability. We're going to be here forever if we can help it. Do you really want a situation where people just come in and overnight just trying to take a sledgehammer through your economy? Like, that's really the threat. If China comes to the Western Hemisphere and say it, and they'll have a pretty strong case, because all America is going to be able to do is say, hey, we have shared values, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm pretty sure that Mexico and Canada are not feeling very friendly to their North American neighbor right now. So we'll continue to see how things turn out. Love to hear your thoughts and comments below. Let me know if it's a subject you want to hear about that I haven't touched on. And like, share, subscribe if you enjoy the content. Until next time, take care. Batu up.